The top story tonight, some 500 mine workers are still underground at the Gold One Modder East operation in Springs. It's after a Sunday night shift, which was due to surface yesterday morning, did not do so. Mine management and the National Union of Mineworkers say the workers are being held hostage. But Amcu says that it is in fact a sit-in. Well, earlier, a commissioner from the CCMA and Amcu leaders said they were refused access to that mine in Gauteng. Our reporter Zola Sholwana was at the scene, joins me now in studio to get a better understanding of what's been happening since this morning. Zola, what is going on? Because almost 24 hours since we started talking about this issue, there's still the back and forth about whether or not this is a hostage situation or workers are underground demanding to be taken seriously by management. Which is it?
Well, Temegile, as it stands, there isn't really a clear understanding of what is really happening, because when you speak to the relevant stakeholders, which is Amcu, the NUM, and also workers at this point, they've got different stories. Earlier on, we spoke to an Amcu representative who said workers are not held hostage. The sit-in was voluntarily. And when we got an opportunity to speak to a representative from the NUM, they then said all the workers that are inside there, the 543 workers, were held hostage. Now, obviously, at this point, you are really trying to find what the actual story is. But the workers on the ground who were meant to report to work today, but unfortunately couldn't because operations are on a standstill at the mine because of the situation and also security reasons, then these workers are saying the sit-in was planned a night before those workers were reported on Sunday, because we were told that they decided that they will remain underground until their demands are met, and that is actually what is currently happening right now.
Let's listen, in fact, to the NUM speaking to us at the mine earlier. Have a listen, and then Zola and I will talk more to you about the situation in a moment.
Yes, they are held hostage, ma'am, because if it is not a hostage, why would people that are injured choose to stay underground? Why would a paramedic, who's not even a mine employee, stay there? Because she or he doesn't have an interest on the sit-ins. Management told us that they are sitting with Amcu at 8 in order to come up with amicable solutions, but they promised that they are not going to let Amcu take shortcuts by wanting to have organizational rights with the lives of the people. Yes, ours was to make sure that employees are coming back safe and we cannot gamble with their lives.
So that's the view of the NUM, Zolas, and Amcu is still saying this is not a hostage situation but a sit-in. But why is this the action that workers then, if it is a sit-in, have resorted to in order to get attention of mine management?
So what these workers are saying, Tembegile, is that when you work for that mine, you automatically fall under the NUM, because apparently there's a lifetime agreement between Gold One as a company and the NUM. Now, because these workers are dissatisfied with the treatment and also how the NUM is not addressing their issues and their challenges that they're encountering at work, then they decided that let us actually allow Amcu, because they're saying that we've seen Amcu work in other mines. So when we speak to a lot of the workers actually that were on site to obviously support their colleagues that are stuck under, they were speaking the same language. And we then asked the NUM to say, you are saying you have 1,800 workers that fall under your union out of the 2,000 in this mine, but there was no representation in terms of, people dressed in their regalia, because most of the workers that were there were wearing Amcu regalia. And they really mentioned, Tembegile, that there's so much, that they've been asking for in terms of representation from the union. And they do believe that at this point it is not serving their interests, and therefore Amcu should come on board, and they believe that it will do better.
Have a listen to Amcu.
We understand that there's been communication that was sent from underground with what they are demanding. And it's a simple thing. It's only one thing that they've requested, is that it's actually two things. We understand that they want Amcu to be recognized as the union of their choice. Secondly, they want all agreements that the company has recently concluded with NUM to be nullified. And to make you understand that, when management noticed that Amcu has recruited the majority of workers, they went on the table with NUM to conclude a whole lot of agreements that the effect would be, even if they recognize Amcu today, Amcu would not be able to do certain things because of the agreement that they have signed.
So the situation at Gold One, as we're seeing tonight, is quite extraordinary, right? You've got more than 500 workers who we're told have been underground since they went in for a shift on Sunday night. They've not come up. As things stand, some of their colleagues have gathered on the surface in support of the action, apparently. But also, I noticed earlier you were able to speak to families, relatives of some of the men and women who are worried about their condition underground. What is going on as far as access to the miners who are still beneath the surface? Is anyone going down there? Are others still able to come in for shifts, for example?
Well, access is restricted to Mbegile, and apparently that is for security reasons. Like I said earlier on, those who were meant to report for work today were not allowed to actually access the mine. There was quite heavy police presence, private security as well. Now, those who were able to report earlier apparently came in yesterday. Right, and obviously they are joining and supporting their colleagues. And we spoke to a lady who went there worried about her husband, saying that, I don't know what he's eating, he's on treatment. You know, those are the concerns that obviously, were, family members were, worried about at that moment. And really, the company kept on saying, we will not allow anyone to access the premises. Amcu even had a challenge, because later on, they had to have a meeting with the CCMA, Amcu, NUM, and also the company. So there was a bit of a challenge in terms of accessing the premises, and the meeting is actually going on right now as we speak. We haven't really been told about the outcomes of the meeting as to will Amcu be allowed to take over the mine, because seemingly most of the workers that we've actually had a conversation with early on want to see themselves represented by Amcu.
And as you're saying, some of the family members now are concerned about the well-being of their spouses, their brothers, their sisters, who are part of these 500 workers. Do we know if water, food are able to get down there? What are they doing to sustain themselves?
Well, that is the biggest challenge, actually, because members that were outside the mine managed to contribute a bit of money to buy, food for their family members, and they were told that they were not allowed to bring in the food. And we also asked, the NUM if maybe they will supply their members, like they said. They said most of the members that are down there are actually theirs with food, and they said they will attempt to do that. Amcu on the other side said, that was the initial plan, to bring our people food until this whole thing is over. But obviously, they haven't been granted access. So we don't really know what is happening down there. But when we spoke to one of the ladies who's actually trapped inside there, she mentioned that the company sent security, allegedly sent securities down there, threatening them that if they do not leave the premises of the mine, then they will be fired. So that is the situation at the mine.
Zola, thank you very much for that. Zola Sholwana reporting on the situation at Gold One mine.